Hello and welcome back to Pod Popper's Place and another Embossing Folder Friday. For this month's theme, I wanted to work with two different embossing folders and the Spellbinder set that I have had over a year and have never opened. It felt extremely intimidating to me, but I had a plan and so I set it into motion, although I had no idea how I was going to make it work. These Spellbinder dies are essentially see-through windows, so my plan is to use the holly embossing folder to have that as my background in the way back so that when you look through the two windows you can see the hollies in the background. And then you would lift the holly panel so that you can have the sentiment underneath. I made my green panel slightly longer than the A2 size card so that I could have a 1/4 inch at the top to fold over and hold my panel down. And then I embossed it and had to recrease my fold so that it was nice and crisp. And then I put it inside my card and I'm ready to go on to the next step, which is cutting out my windows. At first I thought I needed to cut out the plain window first, but I realized no, that the deer and the trees in the background needed to be cut out. And so I used the deer to poke the hole through to the second paper so that I know where to place the trees on the second level. So what I have are two A2 size card trimmed slightly smaller so that they'll fit together, and it's going to be a trifold opening card. Although the hole helped me to put the trees in the proper place, it did leave a small impression that I wasn't able to cover up later, so I might do that differently next time. After I am able to cut out the deer, it's a nice clean cut, and I can see if my trees are placed in the proper position. The tree die cut out very nicely as well, and now I'm able to kind of put my card together just to see how it is looking, and I really love how this looks so far. Still moving ahead with my original plan, I used some perfect pearls in gold to put some gold on the holly leaves and then also some shimmer spray on top as well. Next, I wanted to add some silver to the front to use it as a reflection, sort of like snow. So I'm trying to figure out how can I cut out this plain die and put it in the right place of the paper. So I end up flipping it over on the back side and putting the paper on so that the cut is going to come up from underneath instead of going down from the top. This worked really actually pretty well. After I got this cut and trimmed to the right size on the front, I ended up using another embossing folder, and it's just the Swiss Dots embossing folder that gives it just a little look like it is snow on the ground. Then this is where my original idea goes down the toilet. I realized that I put gold on the leaves and silver on the front, and it was just a total clash. So I scrapped the gold holly and just save that for another time. I decided to cut out another plain silver piece for the inside of the card so that I can cut out this thinking of you window and put that on the inside for a partial sentiment. I ended up having to cut the thinking of you out twice. It did not cut through completely the first time, and I had to use a metal shim die for it to cut cleanly the second time. I used Barely Art liquid glue to put my pieces together, and it works well, but it does allow a lot of slippage on the metallic paper on the silver part of it. I used two pieces of the silver to back to put inside the card, and I put that on top of my wood die inside, and then I'm going to add Thinking of You on top of it. And this is where I would have preferred not to use the liquid glue. I should have used some double-sided adhesive paper instead, because the fine areas of the Thinking of You sentiment kind of stuck up, and it was very hard to put liquid glue on any of those areas. So that's one thing I would definitely do differently next time. And then I go ahead and just put all my pieces together. I put the front on, and then I'm going to just use liquid glue to put the back of the one card and the back of the other card together on top of each other. And I do miss that I didn't have the third piece, the holly berry, to put in the center there. Then I added a bow to the top of the outside where I had used my metal tool to poke a hole there to line up my dies, and I just didn't really like the little hole that I could see. It really bothered me, so I had this little cute bow die set, and it worked perfectly to kind of cover up that dot, and then it also, I think, added something to the front as well. One thing I would do differently here is I would have put another tie on the back of the bow so that you couldn't see the back of the brown paper from the inside of the card. And otherwise, I think that it was really super cute on here. I ended up going to add a sentiment in the inside, and I used some decorative pieces to put those together as well. I used a silver piece for the background, and then I used a white piece with a sentiment on top of that. Thank you so much for watching. I would sure appreciate that you like and subscribe my video. Be sure and check out other creators in the hop, and their links will be down in the description box below. Happy holidays!